The Samsung Galaxy Watch Active2 is barely an upgrade on its predecessor, which came out earlier this year but lacked the rotating bezel that made its beefier sibling, the Samsung Galaxy Watch, such a hit. But the refined version of Samsung's sporty smartwatch comes with a digital bezel and a few other tricks to become the best wearable in the company's lineup. The similarities to its predecessor are probably for the best. The Active2 retains its predecessor's slimmer, minimal, modern look. It's almost certainly a more broadly appealing setup than the Galaxy Watch's girthy form, akin to the more masculine style of traditional watches. It's manageable and rigorous enough to take on runs, yet packing enough features and capabilities to rival the Apple Watch 5. But the Active2's extra features come at a literal cost. It's nominally pricier than its predecessor, shrinking the watch's affordability edge over Apple's watches. Still, the Active2 is a solid choice for consumers on the hunt for a smartwatch to take on runs and into the office, especially for Android users outside the iOS ecosystem. Yes, it can be used with an iPhone, but with limited functionality, and for the same price you could pick up an older Apple Watch. Price analysis. The Samsung Galaxy Watch Active2 will go on sale in the US on September 27, 2019 starting at $279.99 for the 40mm version or $299 for the 44mm version. The UK meanwhile will seemingly be getting it on October 3rd. We say seemingly because it was meant to be out already, but that's the date currently shown on Samsung's site. It's priced at £269 for a 40mm model and £289 for a 44mm one. The Australian launch is set for October 8, but Antipodeans won't get the cheapest 40mm model, with prices starting at $549 for the 44mm. The Galaxy Watch Active2 will also be available in an LTE model, which in the US will be offered through Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, US Cellular and Verizon. We don't know the pricing of this model in the US, but in the UK that model starts at £399 for 40mm, rising to £419 for a 44mm size, and in Australia the 40mm size is priced at $749 Australian dollars, with the 44mm model set to cost $799 Australian dollars. That launch price puts it around the cost of the now discounted Apple Watch 3, which, while not reaching the high cost of the latest Apple smartwatch, still offers firm competition. But if you wanted most of the functionality of the Active2 and to save 29%, you could opt for the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active. While the extra features, digital haptic dial, LTE availability, and extra workout features, are nice extras, they probably aren't worth the price jump. Design and display. The Galaxy Watch Active2 is a dead ringer for its predecessor, the 40mm version, anyway, since the new smartwatch is also available in 44mm, which is more manageable than the Galaxy Watch's hefty 46mm bigger model. As it stands, both options are pretty light, starting at 26 grams for the smaller aluminum, without a strap, and 30 grams for the larger, present but not weighty when worn during a run. Advertisement. Like the original Active, the basic Watch Active2 has an aluminum body. It comes in cloud silver, aqua black and pink gold colors. You can also get it in stainless steel for a higher price, which comes in silver, black and gold. The cheaper model comes with a rubberized fluoroelastomer band, which you'll recognize if you've ever worn an Apple Watch, material that felt natural through casual and sweaty activity, and would be fine worn sun up to sundown, and beyond. If you want a classier look and feel, you can opt for the heavier, by about 11 grams, stainless steel body with a leather strap, but you can also swap out any Samsung sold or aftermarket 20mm band if you so desire. In either case, the watch's back has a heart rate monitor with 8 photodiodes, double the amount of its predecessor. In our tests it gave reasonably accurate readings. The two side buttons are also the same as before, a back button on top, which is now outlined in some case colors, and a home button below, which brings up your apps. While double tapping the latter brings up Samsung Smart Assistant Bixby by default, you can, and should, set it to something more useful, such as a shortcut to a frequent favorite. The Active2's 360 by 360 resolution Super AMOLED screen is slightly, as in, 0.1 inches, expanded to 1.2 inches over its predecessor for the smaller 40mm model, meaning less bezel this time around, while the larger 44mm option has a 1.4-inch screen of the same resolution. That's about standard for smartwatches, and it's enough screen real estate to filter through essential information, though sorting through any text meatier than a notification, like, say, an email, is a chore. Most of Samsung's first-party apps are optimized for this tiny display, but some third-party options are as audacious as they are spectacularly unsuccessful. By which we mean, we downloaded a YouTube watching app on a lark, and it went about as expected. Performance and software. The Active2 has an Exynos 9110 dual-core chipset, the same as its predecessor, and the original Galaxy Watch, for that matter, but at 1.15 GHz, it's fast enough. The smartwatch's 768 MB of RAM is fine for switching in and out of apps, though that's upgraded to 1.5 GB for the LTE model. That's enough power to zoom around the interface, though we still wish Samsung had been able to fit more than 4 GB of storage in there, especially since, once the operating system and baseline apps have been loaded up, you're left with 1.5 GB to fiddle with. Enough for plenty of songs and apps, most of which take up barely a megabyte apiece, but not leaving much room for bigger, bolder software. Like its predecessor, the Active2 runs on Samsung's One UI overlay over Samsung's trusty Tizen operating system, and not much has changed since the original Active. The rotating dial makes it noticeably easier to sift through apps on your home page or notifications on the main watch face screen, though it will take a little getting used to for precision navigation, i.e. not zooming past the right stop. There are other new integrations Samsung is championing, like taking a photo on a phone with the Samsung Wearables app and creating an algorithmically chosen color and pattern watch face design. Ostensibly, this is to sync your Active2 with whatever you're wearing. But you could also snap photos of a particular hue or natural color, if you fancy. Unfortunately, Tizen hasn't gotten much in the way of third-party app support in the interim since the original Active. Aside from flashlights, calorie counters and run mapping, you're likely relying on first-party apps to carry most of your interactivity. Tizen is still behind Apple Watch OS and even Wear OS in this regard. The included apps are still useful, though iOS users still won't be able to access all the best benefits, like replying to messages or interacting with email beyond notifications. Some things have improved. Find My Phone now buzzes your iPhone even if Do Not Disturb is on, but you simply won't get the full functionality of the watch without an Android phone. Fitness. The Watch Active2's fitness apps and features haven't changed much. There's still 39 workout tracking modes, like running, walking, cycling and swimming. The exercise modes generally work fine for the cardio-related routines, but struggle with those defined by motion. The crunches mode, for example, only counted reps when the hand, and thus the Active2, was extended far over the knees, meaning anyone performing a crunch with arms crossed over their chest is out of luck. It's an odd specificity that extends to other workouts, like arm extensions and jumping jacks, which were similarly finicky. But we didn't have any problems when taking the Active2 for a jog, where it tracked our runs and gently vibrated when it sensed we'd stopped moving and might be done with the workout, or was just telling us to wrap up our break. The smartwatch also connected effortlessly with Bluetooth headphones, which made it easier to hear the Active2's occasional vocal updates on our workout progress. Listening to music was more of a chore, especially when connected to an iPhone, for which adding music is a multi-step process. Syncing up a Spotify account is easy enough, though the frequent alerts and notifications momentarily muted audio, with multiple disruptions per song. It's odd, especially when a non-interruption feature seems like such a logical addition for a workout mode. The Galaxy Watch Active2 is IP68 rated for water and dust resistance, and can survive being submerged up to 5 meters in liquid and getting a little grimy. There's even a waterlock mode that disables touchscreen functionality and vibrates to shake out excess water. The watch also has an ECG, electrocardiogram, which can be used to detect the electrical activity and rhythm of your heart. It's a feature we've already seen on the Apple Watch 4 and 5 and can be used to detect the likes of atrial fibrillation. However, while the hardware is present here, the feature isn't available at launch, as Samsung needs approval for its use in each country. As such, we haven't been able to test this. Battery life. If anything lives up to Samsung's claims about the Galaxy Watch Active2, it's battery life. With typical use, our Active2 lasted through 2 full days. While that's not quite the 4 days that our original Galaxy Watch survived for, it's more than can be said of the Apple Watch line. That battery life diminishes with lots of activity, playing music or running the GPS, through those workouts, say, can drain capacity at a more rapid pace. It all depends how much you use it, and there's a battery saving setting. Switching on grayscale, switching off Wi-Fi, to eke out more life between charges. The actual capacity of the 40mm model is 247 mAh, slightly larger than the 230 mAh of its predecessor. The 44mm 340 mAh capacity might give it the edge over its smaller sibling, the only one we tested, though that's also powering a larger screen. WHOITs for Android phone owners looking to pick up a quality smartwatch from a known brand should consider the Active2, especially if they're, well, active. This is especially true for lovers of the original Galaxy Watch who are wary of a dial-less watch. And since we might never get a Samsung Galaxy Watch 2, this might be the closest we'll get. WHOITs not for anyone locked into Apple's iOS ecosystem won't get the most out of this smartwatch. And with a still competitive Apple Watch 3 on the market, it's tough to recommend what's undeniably an inferior wearable OS. Likewise, any serious fans of Wear OS might be unimpressed by the smaller app library. Competition. Apple Watch 3. As we've said repeatedly, the Apple Watch 3 is identically priced, proven, and likely discounted even more during deal seasons. WatchOS is more robust and beloved for good reason. While you'll miss out on the Active2's haptic dial and demonstrably better battery, the tighter integration with iOS is more compelling. Samsung Galaxy Watch Active. We've made the case throughout this review, but the original Watch Active has most of the bells and loses out on few of the new whistles in its successor. You'll still get a quality smartwatch to take on runs and into the office, but at a lower price, which is primed to drop more during deal seasons.